Calvin Kattar versus Max Holloway, and potentially, I mean, both of you have very big tasks in front of you with Ortega and Kattar respectively, but should you both win, you could be facing a third fight. I'm sure you're not thinking about that right now, but it's obviously a fight that you guys are watching respectively.
Yep.
How do you see this matchup going? Who do you think wins and why?
This is a big this is a big fight for Max and Kattar, because I think stylistically, the fight that Max Holloway always likes, the fight, the way he fights, Kattar's a problem. But I mean, so I think this is what's beauty about this. What's exciting about this is you get Max Holloway, who's going to have to show a whole different side of him. You know what I mean? He's going to show a lot more tools. He's going to have to show, again, if he just wants to stick to his guns and play that boxing fight with Kattar, he's going to have problems, because Kattar can box, Kattar can fight. And so that's why I'm really, really looking forward to this one, because again, with Max, he is well-rounded, but you haven't really got to see him use that. Like, he hasn't needed to, if that makes sense. With me, you've seen him change up and use a lot more knees and kicks and things like that. So I feel like he might go that route. Again, they've got a good team, so they're going to go. Whether he's going to bring grappling, I guarantee you his grappling and clinch work is underrated. I feel like we might see a bit of that.
From Max?
Yeah, from Max, I feel like we can, and which will be exciting. Let's see how it goes.
Kattar grew up wrestling too.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
He's a good wrestler.
I didn't know that. But again, I just feel like with Max, I feel like he gets to show a whole different side of him. If he doesn't, can he win still? Yeah, I think he can. But it ain't going to be an easy fight with Kattar if he just wants to sit there and box with Kattar, because Kattar has tidy hands. And he showed that he's got a decent gas tank. So obviously with this fight with Kattar, with Zabit,
yeah,
he come out strong, finish strong. If you're, towards the end. So again, this is an exciting one. I think Max has to do more than just box. But again, like you said, he's got the. I didn't know that he grew up wrestling, but a lot of them did. But that doesn't mean, Max can't go that route.
No.
And
absolutely
again, he's got a smart team. Whether it's breaking him down and nullifying Kattar's boxing with clinch work and things like that, you know what I mean? Like go on that route, whether it's that route, just to slow him down and get in his head that way, punches off the break or whatever it is, you know what I mean? I feel like he's going to show a different side of him. If not, it's going to be a fun fight, but it's going to be a dangerous fight for Max if he just wants to stick to his guns.
I have a question. Just watching Kattar fight myself, I see he plays with the jab like Max, but he's different. I think he's got, my opinion, he's a little faster than Max.
Yep.
And hits a little harder.
Yes, he does. Yep.
He hits a little fast, he's got a little bit of pop, but they're both counter fighters. And Kattar likes to throw that jab out, hit you with a jab, throw the false distance, you throw your jab, and he counters over the top. And if you play that game with him, I haven't seen him really struggle with that. Where I've seen him struggle with was with Moicano and with Zabit, where they're starting to throw volume. I think Moicano threw 3 times the amount of strikes and hit him 3 more times than Kattar did. The volume got to him, and with Zabit as well, but Zabit started to slow down, and then Kattar came on, but it was a case of too little too late. And
I'm trying to remember the fight with, so he fought Moicano.
Yeah.
And what happened with that one?
Moicano just threw about, I don't know, I mean, something like, say Kattar threw 150 strikes. I'm saying, please, it was something like that. And Moicano threw something like 300 strikes.
Okay.
And he landed like the amount of same strikes that Kattar threw.
Okay, yep.
And so he just kind of drowned him,
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. Well, that shows you, again, I don't remember that. So that's a good point you're doing, because how does Max fight? You know what I mean? Like, exactly. So I see where you're going with this, yeah.
And that's why. But you've fought Max, so I'm curious as to what you think with that little point that I said about those two guys. Like, do you think that Max fighting a version of himself, and Kattar has a little bit longer reach as well? Again, the reach in the UFC, they do it like wingspan, eh? It's
they
not
do it that way. Yep.
Yeah.
They do it
and
that
so someone like yourself, I remember saying this about you said, I think one of the things like Max's range and his length, and everyone's like, no, Alex has got longer arms and everything than thing. And I'm like, dude, he's not a fucking chimp.
Yeah.
You know what? Like you're a lot broader.
Exactly. Shoulders.
Yeah. And so when they do wingspan, I try to explain this to people, man. And they're like, no, his reach is a lot. And I'm like, dude, he's not a chimp. To have that kind of reach, you'd have to be a chimp. So I think Kattar's a little broader, you know, but he's a little quicker and he's got a little bit more pop, which when they match up like that, how do you think Max deals with another counter striker that's a little faster, that's got a little more pop?
Well, that's why I think that's where you touched on Moicano, where Moicano is very sharp as well. He's got tidy boxing, really good fast jab, pretty explosive type of boxing as well. So I feel like maybe that's where he could have edged Kattar, where I feel like Max, again, like you said, he's more of a volume fighter, but he's not the fastest. He doesn't have the fastest hands in the world, you know what I mean? So I feel like he needs to do more than just play counter boxing with Kattar. So whether it is setting up with kicks, giving him other obstacles, giving him other things to worry about, then land his punches, or you know what I mean, whatever it is. I think he needs to do a little bit more than just boxing. You know, again, like with Moicano, what you said, but I feel like Moicano is faster and a counter fighter as well. So I feel like that's where he could have edged Kattar in that sense. And I feel like Kattar's probably, I think that was that his like first fight in or something?
I don't think he's from memory. Please correct me if I'm wrong.
Actually, Kattar come in first before that. Yeah,
I was going to say, I don't think it was his first fight, but it was still relatively early on.
Yep.
It was still relatively early on. One of the fights that impressed me about Kattar, and again, like I say this with people, and they go, but he lost that fight. And I think like sometimes, like there's people that I saw Bam Bam fight Peter Graham.
Okay, yep.
Back in the day, like this is, I don't know. Did you?
I think I was there. Was that Combat 8?
Yeah.
I was there.
Yeah. I was there too.
Yeah.
And I already knew about Bam Bam just living in Southwest Sydney. I grew up in Southwest Sydney. But when I saw Bam Bam fight him, I was like, this guy's got fucking talent. Like what? I didn't personally know him back then, but like he lost that fight and Graham stopped him. But I was like, this kid's got a lot of fucking talent. And it was in a loss that you saw it.
Yep.
Because he gasped, but he didn't bitch out either. Like, and people don't understand. You're a kid. Like, he was like 18, 19. You're fighting fucking Peter Graham.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like people don't get that. You know what I mean? And like you look at that, and in a loss, you see a lot in people. And I saw him when he fought Zabit, who I think is, you're going to have to fight him at some point as well. One of the better guys in that division. And I thought Zabit's probably going to have his way with this guy. And he kind of did for the first 2 rounds. And fucking Kattar stayed in it.
Yeah.
And I think won the third.
Oh, yeah. But I think he definitely dominated the third. A 5-round fight. That was it.
Yeah. That
was it.
Yeah. And then
that's obviously a big problem with Zabit.
Well, yeah.
You've seen that. Like, that's a pretty obvious statement. But that's exactly, I agree with you 100%.
But he really impressed me because, like you've said before, and in a 3-round fight, you've lost 2. A lot of people right there that just crumbles you. But this guy came back and fucking gave it to him. How do you see Zabit and like how do you see Zabit fitting into that division?
Well, again, he's got a lot of talent. You know, he's got a lot of talent, and he's very well rounded. He's really good at mixing it all together. But again, there's that gas tank problem, and people are going to be like, I can work on that. Some people, you know what I mean? Like, you can work on it, you can get better, but do I think he's going to be able to just, next fight he's just going to he's going to have a gas tank and be able to get through it? No, because that's not his fighting style. You know what I mean? That's not how, you know, his type of style is, you know, he's a, would you say opportunist, but like whatever's in front of him, he's going to go. If he's got space, he's going to do this spinning back kicks. He's going to, you know, you come into his range, he's going to throw him, and he's going to throw him hard. You know what I mean? He's going to shoot for big, massive double legs. You know, there's things like that. That's just his style, and that's why he looks good. He does all this flashy stuff.
And he's long. So he has to use that length.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, which I'll get onto the Kattar and Zabit in a second as well. I want to get back on that. But with Zabit, obviously, again, he's very well-rounded, does a lot of things good. But with Zabit, you see, again, you can have all the talent in the world, but if you don't have that gas tank, you know what I mean? That especially with someone like me or Max, you fight guys like us, it's a problem. Even half the guys he just fought, if they were 5-round fights, he lost. He would have lost like probably his last 3 fights if there were 5-rounders. So he's got a lot of work to do, whether it's approach fight differently. But then is he going to be the crazy Zabit, that people like watching because he does all this flashy stuff and looks really good? Will he look as good in the earlier rounds?
Probably and will he keep people off him?
Yeah.
You get what I mean?
Right, exactly right. So, you know what I mean? That's what I mean by that's his style and that's what he's good and that's how it works for him. His style and then his range and his body type or whatever. That's what works for him. So it's going to be hard to work on that gas tank. You know
Dude,
what I mean?
And what people don't get is when you're gassed, there's no pep talk your coaches are going to give you. There's fucking nothing. Like your body, your fucking blood vessels are no longer taking oxygen to the working muscles.
Yeah.
And they're not efficiently taking the carbon dioxide out. You're fucked.
Yeah.
Like this, you're fucked. You got no air. You're fucked.
And it's funny you say that as well. So if he is there and then he's been working on and he's started putting himself in uncomfortable position, so he's breaking in the gym and they're trying to get him to just push through it, he's not going to be the fight he was in them early 2 rounds. Even if you can suddenly get his mental side to push through that, like you said, your body ain't going to move how it wants to be, and that's not how he fights. He's more of a explosive sort of fighter. He can't just like Nate Diaz and pop and just like touch and all that type of stuff. That's not his style. So then all of a sudden his body's given out, and then he's got to try and change his whole approach of how he always fights just so he could stay in the last 2 rounds. It's not going to end well for him. What were we going to Kattar and Zabit. So with Kattar, what was a bit of a problem for Kattar, I thought. So again, he showed that he had a bit of mongrel in him and he could eventually do it. How long it took him to try and adjust when things weren't going his way. Like he still tried to stick to this because again, you give Zabit space, that's his world. Don't get me wrong, when you don't give him space, it doesn't mean he crumbles. He's actually a very composed fighter. Even when you put him, like say, he's very comfortable at this range. I get here, it doesn't mean he's uncomfortable. It just means he can't get off what he usually does because that's not where it does. So he's composed. I give him credit because he stays composed even when things aren't really going. He's got this poker face. It's just that blank look that, just doesn't change. But, so Kattar was in this range and like it wasn't going his way. The first round was not going his way. Second round, he tries the exact same thing. I'm just like, I could already see that Zabit was starting to tie and I could see that Zabit, this isn't working. I mean, Kattar, this isn't working for you. Change it up. Like, you know what I mean? Like, start pressuring him, start getting in his face, make it a fight. Like, this is not going well for you, especially halfway through the second round. The same thing's happening. You need to adjust. And they just would not make an adjustment. He waited till like halfway through the third round to be like, I need to put pressure on. Puts pressure on and breaks him like that. And then it looks like, mate, you done that second round, you win that fight comfortably, I thought. Because I seen him breaking after the first Zabit. So, it was for me to see that and I was like, man, like that's why I feel like, Max, again, their team, they're smart, they're clever. I don't think can Kattar change much. Can he prove me wrong? Yeah, he can. But from what I've seen, that's a problem.
How quick do you feel he should have been able to change?
After the first round, he should have changed something. I'm not saying all of a sudden change again, become a pressure fighter, but that range that he was fighting, he was trying to sit back and counter, and like that what you were talking about, sit back and like sort of bait him. But Zabit was at a range where he could throw his fancy stuff, and he was just having his way with Kattar in the first round. All right, let's change it up. Whether it's slightly, whether it's a little bit of footwork or whether it is me committing more with my fakes or committing more earlier the distance or coming in closer just to make, just to change something up. I would have just said, look, the worst part about it again is the fact that you've seen how bad the pressure fighters were going for Zabit. Every time there was a blueprint already there for how to beat Zabit. You know what I mean? Like it happened the 2, 3 or 3 fights before where they pressured him and he crumbled. It's not going your way. All right, I'm going to need to do what the guys eventually did and broke him, but I need to do it now. I can't lose another round and then try and do it, which is what he did, which surprised me. I think the blueprint was there.
Do you think that he would have learned from that fight and he may be able to adapt and change quicker against Max?
Yeah, of course he can. But I mean, I think it just took way too long to adjust. Maybe that's just me because I feel like I can adjust like that. But, you know. But again, can he? Like you said, when you're there's some people that's them, yeah, that's who they are. And once you start getting, well, things not going your way, or you start getting tired, it's going to be hard to pull this poker face, or you know what I mean. It's going to be hard to be someone you're not. Like when you were saying about, you know, that's just who they are. If they tend to change it, say if they did change that first round, you get tired, you're going to go back to what you are. You know what I mean? That's you. You know what I mean? So that's where, yeah, they can do whatever they want, but as soon as they get tired, they're going to go back to who they are. Like, it's like when you're angry, yeah? Like, you show your true colors. Oh, I'm going to pull a poker face. They get me angry. Next minute, they're carrying on how they usually do. You know, that's just who they are.
It's the same thing. Like, you know, like everyone's friends when it's going good.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? When things aren't going good, that's when we see. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's a very interesting thing. Do you think someone like Max has a vocabulary of different strikes? And I'm loading this question because I know what the answer is here.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm saying to you, do you think Max has a vocabulary of strikes to give Kattar the same problems that Zabit did in that first and second round?
Oh, yeah, like I said before.
Because Max doesn't show the flashiness in the kicks.
Yeah, he doesn't. But he's still clever. Like, you know what I mean? Like, even he's set up, the way he approaches combos, you know, there's things, you know, some people will be like, oh, he's, you know, whether
he's basic.
Yeah. Oh, he's got basic punches, but there's half the time he's doing that on purpose. You know what I mean? Like, so.
What's he doing, Alex?
What do you mean?
When you say he's got basic punches and half the time he's doing it on purpose, give an example of that if you could, please.
Again, like how I was saying with that jab, there's so many ways I can throw it. I can make a jab look like it looks ugly. So these people tell me, oh, he's got a shit jab. Like, oh, look how bad his jab is, because they're looking at this textbook jab. This is how you meant to do a jab. This is how it looks like.
So what does Max do?
Like, Max has a variety of different strikes. You know what I mean? Whether, like, again, I never want to give too much away. But, I mean, there's, again, what you said, like, it gives you a false sense of distance. Half the time he's just pitter-patting. And people like thinking, oh, he hits like a bitch. Like, he's not trying to hit him hard now. Pop, pop. You know what I mean? Here I am. Now here I am. Boom. You know, and then he changes it up. You know, I can throw a jab this way, this way, this way, this way. You know, he does that. You know, his punches might look basic, but there's so many ways of throwing them basic punches that he makes it so effective, especially when he's in your head and starts to break you. So I definitely think he does have a lot of tools to do that. That's what I mean. Like, I think Max can still beat him if they box. But I mean, I just believe there's problems there with Kattar. You know what I mean? So I still think Max wins that. But there's a safer way if he tries to do this. Again, you know, Max probably like, fucking no one can knock me out. I'm just going to stick to my guns and do my thing. So maybe he does that, you know, because he's a gamer, and I'm always going to have respect for him that way, because he will stick to his guns no matter what. But I believe he does have the sort of the skill set to really change and mix things up and give Kattar problems. And again, they've got a smart team. Maybe they're figuring things out that I can't see, because I don't know how Max is inside the gym. I know what he's doing with his fights, because he's doing this. You know, they're clever. The way he fights is a purposeful way he's fighting. Maybe that fight. Maybe he sticks to that sort of way he fights purely because he knows that's going to work for all these opponents. But then again, you know, I feel like he can show a lot more other things. Like, who knows what his wrestling and jiu-jitsu is like. You've seen him even give like, obviously Aldo was tired, but then you see him give Aldo big problems when he went to the ground. So you never know whether he clinches up and then gives him problems here, and then who knows? We'll see. But again, I definitely think he's got a skill set to really, really mix things up if he wants to. Can he win with just fighting how he always does? Yeah, maybe. But I feel like a safer route would be fighting that a little bit more smart with someone like Kattar.